Welcome. We are talking some Facebook ads. We're talking meta ads today. I'm going to go through very briefly and address as many questions as possible about Facebook ads and meta ads for real estate agents. Now, I went ahead and pulled a lot of the questions that have come through the Facebook group, through the chat, through the comment section itself, and just questions that come up all of the time. I went ahead and got all of them together, and we're going to go through them together right now. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the chat, as now is your opportunity to learn more about Facebook ads and how to actually make them work for your real estate business. So we are going to dive right into it. We want to get in here and be very respectful of your time, and at the same time, we want to be thorough. So let's get going. Is this the first one? I don't think it is. All right, so one of the questions that comes up a lot is, how much should I spend on Facebook/meta ads? Now, you're going to hear me use meta ads or Facebook ads. I am still learning how to, getting accustomed to the change in name. So that's, you're going to hear me use those two names interchangeably. So Facebook ads, how much should you be spending? Well, that depends on your budget, but the budget that I typically suggest as you're getting started, and to really give you enough data, for one, give you enough leads as you're starting to get more and more leads into your database, and really give you enough up at bats, give you enough practice, I suggest spending $10 a day for 90 days. So basically it's $900. So you're looking at $300 for 3 months. So that gives you plenty of time, gives you plenty of budget to split test certain images, split test certain audiences, certain placements, certain messaging, and gives you enough up at bat so you can get some meaningful data and start generating some results. Now, when it comes to the lead cost, that's going to vary all across the board, but generally you can get some leads flowing in for, on average, $5. Doesn't matter if it's seller or buyer leads. Generally, you can expect around a $5 lead cost if you know what you're doing, if you already have your images split tested, if you have your ad copy split tested, if you have your placements dialed in, if you know what you're doing. Generally, there are some metrics that you can expect. Now, of course, that varies across the market, but given that we run ads in every single market, I can just give you some of our present experiences. Now, if you're looking for buyer leads, there we can get buyer leads for as little as $1. In some cases, less than that, depending on some of the strategies that we're using. So for the buyer leads, super inexpensive. Now, one of the things that comes up all of the time is, well, what's the conversion rate for Facebook ads? Again, that does depend on the market. That does depend on how you follow up, and we'll talk about follow up here in a little bit. But generally, what I share in terms of expectations when you're looking at online leads, specifically for Facebook ads or meta ads, we're looking at 3 to 5% conversion rate if you follow up. Very important. So we'll look at that here in a little bit. So as you're coming in, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the chat. Hey, thanks so much. Welcome. Good to see you. Glad you're on. I appreciate you. How do you get started with Facebook ads? How do you get started with meta ads? For one, you need your personal profile. That's a given. You need a personal profile. Then you're going to create your business page. Now, your business page is one that you don't have to keep pumping content into or keep it maintained. You just need to have one. So having your meta business page, your Facebook business page, is the next step. Then you're going to create your business manager. Now, your business manager, think of it like a little umbrella of your business. That's going to give you more flexibility with your ads. It's going to help reduce the liability in the event that your ad accounts get shut down, and a few other perks that we really don't have time to get into right now. But personal page, business manager. Then you create its own standalone ad account within that business manager, and you run all of your ads from that ads manager. That's the structure. That's how you get started with ads. And I have several videos sharing with you how to do all of this. One of my recent videos, in fact, it does cover that extensively, where I screen share with you how to get all of this set up, how to launch an ad, how to connect it to how to connect it to CRMs, like as an example. And the one that I went through, I showed you step by step how to connect to KV Core, which is the CRM that my agents use. So you have access to that, right? So as you're coming in, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. This is a Q&A that a lot of the questions that have been asked of me in the past are through the comment section, through the emails, through the DMs, and just personal experience. I went ahead and put them on a little presentation so we can have a guiding light in terms of questions. But of course, please feel free to drop any questions that you might have down below. We're talking Facebook ads, meta ads for real estate. All right, my ad gets rejected all the time. What's going on? Well, your ad, especially if you're new, is very susceptible to getting rejected. So when it comes to launching an ad, you have to select that it's an ad within the special ad category. If you're running an ad that has to do with housing, and if you have an ad that has to do with anything real estate related, you have to select that it's an ad within the special ad category. So every single real estate agent that is launching ads on Facebook/Meta, you have to select that it's a housing ad. There's no exception. So whether you're looking to get buyers or sellers, you have to select that special designation or that category. So that's the most obvious reason that you're going to get your ad rejected. But when you're going into if you've already selected that it's an ad within the special ad category and you're still getting some rejections, most likely it's your ad copy that's problematic, meaning what you're saying in the actual ad itself. If you're making financial claims, that's problematic. If you're targeting a certain demographic, that is problematic. If you're doing things that is a bit sensitive in terms of either financial, if you're sharing some financial gain, if you will, message, if you're sharing some discriminatory message, for sure you will get flagged down. In that case, you would actually get shut down altogether. But if you are providing something problematic within the ad copy itself, there's a good chance that it'll get rejected. And this is before it even gets launched, right? So if you have a very strong ad copy and it continues to get shut down or not approved, then start watering it down. So if you're saying, hey, you can save tens of thousands of dollars, well, maybe let's not make that financial claim. Maybe forget that part of the ad copy and just remove it altogether. So that's the best. It's very case by case, but that's the best that I could share with you in terms of triaging or troubleshooting is a better way of saying it. Troubleshooting why your ads would get rejected. Now, if you're looking for ads that are tried over and over again, you can use the ad copies that Agently, so agently.com, so agently.com. That is one that I can tell you will get approved because those are actually my ad copies that are on the software company that I am a part owner in. So if you're looking to launch your ads through this platform, there's already ads on there that are preloaded that very rarely they get rejected. Now, no one's going to bat 100%, but we are pretty high in terms of getting our ads not rejected, getting our ads approved the first time because we just run them so much and we already have all that data, right? All right, so what to do how do I check if Facebook Pixel is working? So if you have installed your Facebook Pixel and you're not sure if it's working or not, then you're gonna need a little tool called the Facebook Pixel Helper. So right here, it's a Chrome extension. You just go into Facebook Pixel Helper. And you add this extension. And this extension will let you know if there's a pixel on there. This will let you know if there's as an example, if I go to Fiverr, they should have a Facebook pixel. There we go. So this lets me know all of the Facebook pixels that Fiverr has on its web page. So this will let you know if other websites have the Facebook pixel installed, but it'll also let you know if your website has the Facebook pixel installed. So that's how you go through and check it. So Facebook costs 1/3 of Google, but half as effective as Google, right? So basically, those are all numbers that are going to be so different. And it's subjective, to be honest with you. There's no way to make a claim like that. So I can tell you that we're successful with agents on the Facebook side, so the Meta ad, and then we have agents that are being very successful on the Google side. So it really comes down to your messaging. It comes down to your offering. It comes down to your market. There's so many variables. So let's see what else we got. What about YouTube price to webinar show up? Cost of 33 versus. Shoot me an email. It's clear that you got something going on. I don't know what you're marketing. It sounds like you've got some extensive experience with the ads, which is awesome. And if you're sending folks to the webinar, what about YouTube price to webinar show up? Cost of 23 versus AdWords and Facebook. I heard $100. Our cost to show up to a webinar is not that high on AdWords and Facebook. So I don't know what, it looks like you're running a retirement income academy. So I'm guessing it's probably a membership site or a program of some sort. So if I'm reading in between the lines, it looks like you're doing a webinar and then selling into your program. So I love the fact that you're advertising. All right, so what is a carousel ad? Should I use it? A carousel ad is basically multiple cards within the ad itself. So with an ad, you need two things. You need two things. One is the ad copy, so what you're saying in the ad itself. And then two is a digital asset. It could be a video or it could be a image. So again, with an ad, you need an ad copy, and then you need an image and or a video. Now, with a carousel ad, you have the opportunity of putting multiple images and multiple ad copies within the ad itself. So this works incredibly well for new construction, where you can highlight a certain model, like the Rutherford plan, and then the Evergreen plan, and then the X, Y, and Z plan. So it's great for new construction if you're running ads for new construction. Alrighty. I copied and pasted that wrong. Story versus Reels placements. So with placements, there's over 20 placements at this point with Facebook / Instagram / the various networks that Facebook has in its ecosystem. So the primary placement is the newsfeed. So whenever you're scrolling down on Facebook, you see that your newsfeed. So you're scrolling down, you're either seeing images, you're seeing posts, you're seeing whatever. That's your newsfeed. That's the most common one, and that's where we immediately start split testing on. Now with stories, it's a 24-hour placement. So it's at the top. That's where you see the stories. Now with Reels, since it's a new thing specifically on Facebook, we've known about Reels for a while with Instagram, but we're talking about Facebook / Meta. With Reels, there's two places where Reels show up, or two placements per se. There's your personal Reels page that you can run your ads from your personal Reels, or personal Reels from your personal profile. And then you have the business page Reels. So you have the ability of launching ads that you have the ability to create Reels through the business page itself. So right now, I don't have enough data on what would be better. What I do suggest is that you split test both the story placement and then the Reels placement, because with every new feature that Facebook unleashes, every new feature that Meta unleashes, there's an opportunity for an ad. So we saw that with Marketplace when Marketplace was introduced years and years ago. You're able to launch ads in Marketplace now. with groups. Again, groups have been around for years and years. And recently, when I say, no, I guess recently is not even the correct word. Like 2 years ago, they were experimenting with launching ads on Facebook groups, right? So right now, the best thing I could tell you at the moment is split test between the two placements. All right, I heard having text on images was bad. Is that true? Not any longer. You used to have to condense the amount of images that you had. The amount of text that you had on images, because it would suppress your reach, but that is no longer the case. That's I would say over 2 years ago since that change was made. What is a business manager? So we talked about that at the very beginning with the business manager setting. So the business manager is a way to launch different to have more flexibility with your ads, is a way to preserve your ad account, or not preserve, maybe reduce the liability with your ad account. So whenever you create your business page, you automatically are able to launch ads through your business page right from the jump. Now, with that permission to launch ads, you have created a personal ad account. So that account, even though it's a business page, is assigned to you as a person, as a profile. When you go on to create a business manager, you now have the ability of connecting your business page to that business manager, but you also have the ability of creating a new ad account within that business manager. So that's something that you can immediately create, so you have an alternative if your ad accounts get suspended. So you have the ability of creating, in fact, you can create multiple business managers, so you can create that redundancy. So while technically, no, it's not required to have a business manager, I would not advise anybody to launch ads without it. And so as to reduce your liability and reduce the chance of you getting shut down. Can I have multiple ad accounts? Yes, you can have multiple ad accounts. Now, it's important that you take preventive measures right now. I should leave it at when. When your ad account gets flagged for whatever reason, you could be running the most perfect ads. It doesn't matter. When your ad account gets flagged, once the ad account itself is flagged, you are not able to create another ad account. So this could be your homework assignment right now. In fact, your ad account, if you're in good standing right now, I encourage you to go out and create another ad account right now so you can create that redundancy. Because once you get flagged, once you get one of your ad accounts disabled, it's not like you can create another one so that you can launch ads. At that point, everything is locked down. So if you take some precautions now and actually creating that ad account before that happens, or in the event that happens, then you don't have to worry about it. So yes, you can have multiple ad accounts. However, I encourage you to create that other ad account right now for that redundancy, because once one of your ad accounts gets flagged, it's not possible to create another ad account after that. Not after that, during the time that your account is flagged. How can I get real estate buyer leads? Well, I have several videos in this channel that show you how to get real estate buyer leads, and I give you the ad copy itself. So right now, if we were going after buyer leads, which also works for seller leads, but let's focus on buyer leads. For buyer leads, running a just listed ad has been working incredibly well. So we've launched ads with just this I don't know how many we launched this week, but we launched quite a few campaigns with that were just for buyer leads, or primarily focused on buyer leads. They were just listed campaigns, and we're getting leads for about $1.50, $2.25 per lead, just depending on the market that we're in. So long story short, launch just listed ads. How can I get real estate seller leads? Now here again, I have made a complete video breaking down how to do all of this and giving you the ad copy. So you're going to want to check out the rest of the videos on this YouTube channel. And if I remember, I'll link it down below. So just remind me in the comment section so I can get to it. But one of the things that I would suggest, or the campaign that I would suggest for seller leads right now, is a just sold. So in the way that we're using just listed to get buyers, which does help us with sellers as well, I would launch a just sold campaign for real estate seller leads. That's really highlighting what has happened in the market with individuals. So then they're incentivized, not incentivized, it makes real estate, you really have to see the ad copy. So just go down just remind me after this, I'll make sure that I link up the video for the seller leads. But for the seller leads, running a just sold campaign where you highlight a home that had recent success, meaning it was on the market for a certain amount of days, which less than 3 is ideal. If you highlighting a property that sold for above asking, which is very simple to do in this market, and then also one that received multiple offers within that short time frame, which again is very simple to do in the market that we're in. All right, so how do you follow up? So following up is email. It's a must. It's a standard. It's a bare minimum. Text, that's something that you need to incorporate regardless of any other type of follow-up. You need to have some text going out immediately, and then calling. So these are the 3 what I consider standard. Now if you want to get into a little bit more aggressive cadence, then we are finding them on social media and getting into their DMs. Now as the market gets hotter, which it's already incredibly hot, as the competition increases, depending on how desperate you are or how comfortable you are, you might not go to the DM route. But since everyone is coming to you through Facebook, you know that they have an account, or else they wouldn't be in your CRM. They wouldn't be submitting their information. So getting into their DMs is something that now more than ever would be something that you can dive into to increase your conversion rate. So for sure, we're emailing. For sure, we're texting. For sure, we're calling. Now it's up to you. It's up to your judgment if you want to get into the DMs of the individuals that gave you their contact information. Sometimes it's easier to track them down than other individuals, but that's something you're going to have to start playing around with. But when it comes to follow-up, immediate text, immediate call, immediate email, immediate text, immediate call. They don't answer the first time, you do a double ring. So as soon as you call, if it goes to voicemail, don't leave a voicemail, call immediately back. So as soon as you hang up, call right back. You're going to be surprised how many people pick up on that second call, or that second time that you call them. And in the event that you're not able to connect the first time, you're also not leaving a voicemail. You wait to the evening or the afternoon, depending on when you got that lead. But you want to reach out to them within the next several hours to try to get a hold of somebody. And you continue the heavy press, so the heavy pressure for the next 7 days. So if you got a lead on Monday, then you're going to call at least 3 times if you haven't connected, because you have that first call, the ring back, and then the call in the various part of the day. So you're going to at least call 3 times the first day, and you're going to call on that Tuesday. And you can continue that cadence for the first 7 days. So the first 7 days are very important, that now that you have somebody's contact information and it's a working number, there's a higher likelihood that they're going to do something within that time frame rather than a week later when you get around to calling them. So that's what follow-up looks like. How do I know if I got a lead? So you would just go to your ads manager and download your leads from there. Or what I encourage you to do is to integrate your campaigns into your CRM so they can get automated emails, automated text, and everything automated on the back end. But Facebook will sometimes, not always, will sometimes now send you a notification, X, Y, and Z business page got a lead, and they'll give you the hyperlink. But it's not all the time. So don't bank on Facebook letting you know. You have to go into your ads manager and actively manage your ads so you can, so you can know what's going on, but also so you can access the leads that come through. How do I know what targeting to use? It's going to vary across the market that you're in, but when you launch your first ad, don't assign any interest to it. Just let that ad run and start collecting data. Then you start adjusting the audience. Then you start adjusting, do they have a Zillow interest? So we can select a Zillow interest. Start highlighting a Trulia interest, a real estate interest. Then you start split testing. When you're split testing, what you're doing is running two very similar ads with the only difference it's being one variable. So when we're looking at targeting, of the two ads, it's going to have the same ad copy, it's going to have the same image, it's going to have the same objective. The only thing that's going to be different, if we're going to be split testing this targeting, then we're just going to change the interest. So one's going to go without any interest, and then the other one's going to go with a Zillow interest. So we're only changing one variable. And the same thing with placements. So we talked about stories versus reels. The only thing that you're going to change is going to be the stories placement and the reels placement. Anytime that you're split testing one singular variable. You don't want to change multiple variables or split test multiple variables because then you won't know what actually caused that change. What's the best ad to run? That's an impossible question to answer. But basically, the ad that's going to work for you is one that offers a win for your end user. So remember what Facebook is, and it was previously mentioned by the previous commentator about Google versus YouTube versus Facebook. Well, we need to understand what Facebook is. When we're launching ads on Facebook, we are disrupting somebody's Facebook experience. We're not necessarily adding to it. So let's just call a spade a spade. With Google, as an example, you're able to target based off of people's search terms, people's search keywords. So there we know that, hey, people are actually looking for this type of information. So we're just going to put ourselves in front of that conversation. With Facebook, it's a little bit different. Nobody comes to Facebook to see that next house. Nobody comes to Facebook to find the best, all the houses priced under a certain price point on a certain block, if you will. They're not coming to Facebook to do that, right? So we understand that whenever we're launching ads, we're interjecting ourselves into their day, into their experience. So we need to bring something of value so as to incentivize them to reach out to us. So you saw that when we talked about the best ad for buyers and the best ad for sellers. Well, the best ad for buyers, when we're marketing a property that was just listed, well, we're banking on the fact that somebody that would be interested in purchasing a home would respond to that ad and would like to learn some additional details on a property that was just listed, would like to know the price, would like to see the additional, the location, the pictures and what it looks like inside. Right? So we're banking on that fact. And that's the payoff. That's the win. That's the lead magnet. That's the value that we bring to the individuals that actually see the ad. So whenever we're looking at what's the best ad to run, well, what's the best that you can offer to your users, right? So that's something that we need to be mindful of. All right. So that is really all I had for you today. It's something that I wanted to just dive into very rapidly. I know there's I get these questions quite a bit, so I wanted to condense them to one singular place. If you have any questions, please feel free to